The soft girl revolution. Why Black women are done being strong. Welcome to the soft girl era where we're shifting from constantly grinding to finally grounding in joy, in peace, in softness, and in self prioritization. I'm your host, LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French. And I'm your guide from burnout to boundaries, from doing to being, from strong to soft, and loving every second of it. Recently, I had the opportunity to sit down with Shalana Jones, a resilient mother, survivor, and author in the making, whose story of overcoming unimaginable trauma to build a better life is going to touch so many hearts. Shalana Jones is making the world a better place by refusing to let her brutal past define her future, by choosing therapy over silence, education over despair, and motherhood over bitterness. Her soft spoken strength is a gift to every Black woman who has ever felt like her story was too heavy to carry, too painful to share, too broken to heal. And today I want to share the insights from that conversation with you because if Shalana Jones can rise from 30 days of hell, you can start your comeback today. Let's be honest, we live in a world that taught us survival, not softness. We were taught to be strong, to carry the weight, to hold it together, to never let them see us sweat. And for so many Black women, that survival mode became our identity. We led teams, raised families, held down households, carried communities, and somewhere along the way, we forgot that we were allowed to rest. We forgot that softness is not weakness, it's a radical act of self love. We forgot that we didn't have to be superhuman to deserve peace. Shalana Jones knows this truth intimately. Before she could even walk across the stage to receive her high school diploma, she was raped and held hostage for 30 days. 30 days. Let that sink in. 30 days of terror, of violation, of weapons placed in areas of her body that should have only known tenderness. 30 days of wondering if she would survive. And when she finally escaped, the world didn't pause for her healing. The news covered the manhunt, the community whispered, and Shalana was left to pick up the pieces of a life that had been shattered before it even began. She didn't get her diploma, she got a GED. She didn't get a parade, she got PTSD. And in the aftermath of that trauma, she made what she calls bad choices, seeking understanding from bad people. Because when you've been violated in the most brutal ways, you start to believe that's all you deserve. She witnessed suicides. She was exposed to prostitution. She navigated the wreckage of married life while still trying to figure out who she was beneath all the pain. And yet, here she is, a mother, a survivor, a woman writing a book to inspire other victims, a woman choosing softness in a world that taught her survival. So, how do we do it? How do we learn to be soft in a world that taught us survival? How do we release the cape, redefine strength, embrace softness, heal in real time, protect our peace, and turn our pain into purpose? Shalana Jones gave us three powerful takeaways during our interview, and I want to share them with you now. First, trauma doesn't define your future, resilience does. No matter the brutality, no matter the 30-day hostage ordeal, no matter the bad choices that followed, you can rebuild through therapy, through education, through motherhood, through faith. Shalana Jones didn't let her rape define her. She didn't let the weapons, the captivity, the news story, the whispers, the shame define her. She chose resilience. She chose therapy. She chose to go back to school. She chose to be a mother. She chose to write a book. And in doing so, she chose herself. And that choice, that single decision to choose herself, is what separates survival from thriving. It's what separates existing from living. It's what separates being strong from being soft. Second, seeking understanding after violation leads to growth. Shalana's path from GED to building a life shows that even deep pain can fuel purpose. When you've been violated, when you've been held hostage, When you've been exposed to the darkest parts of humanity, it's easy to believe that you're broken beyond repair. But Shalana Jones proves that seeking understanding, seeking therapy, seeking education, seeking community, seeking softness can transform that pain into purpose. Her story is not just about survival, it's about growth. It's about reclaiming her identity, not the version shaped by trauma, but the real her that's been waiting to bloom. And that blooming, that unfolding, that becoming is the essence of the soft girl era. Third, if one Black woman can overcome rape, hostage horrors, and more to write a book inspiring victims, anyone can. Hope is your superpower. Shalana Jones is not superhuman. She's human. She's soft spoken. She's gentle. She's still healing. And that's the point. You don't have to be superhuman to overcome. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to choose hope. You just have to choose yourself. You just have to choose softness. And that choice, that radical decision to prioritize your own healing, your own peace, your own joy, is what makes you powerful. Now, I know some of you are thinking, that's great for Shalana Jones, but my story is different. My trauma is different. My pain is different. And you're right. Your story is different, but the truth is, you're not alone. There are Black women all over this country who have survived brutal traumas, who have been held hostage, who have been violated, who have made bad choices, who have witnessed the worst of humanity, and who have chosen to rise anyway. And I want to share three of those stories with you now because these women, just like Shalana Jones, prove that Black women can rise from the deepest pits. In 2019, a Black entrepreneur named Tara Brown survived a brutal home invasion and assault in Atlanta, Georgia, where she was held at knife point for hours, mirroring the terror of prolonged captivity. Imagine that. Hours of your life held at knife point, not knowing if you would live to see another sunrise. Tara faced physical injuries, PTSD, loss of business momentum as a beauty brand owner, and emotional isolation from stigma in the Black community. But Tara didn't give up. She didn't let that night define her. She sought therapy via Black centered counseling, returned to GED level education programs for skill building, and pivoted her business online while mothering her child. She regained full business control, authored a survivor guide, skyrocketed her brand to $500,000 in revenue, and spoke at Black Women's Empowerment Summits. She inspired over 1,000 survivors through workshops, reducing stigma around trauma in Black entrepreneurship. Tara Brown's story directly parallels Shalana Jones's rape and hostage trauma, GED path, therapy, bad choices, and motherhood fueled rebuild as a Black woman inspiring others via her platform and book. In 1998, Keisha Wright, a Black mother from Chicago, endured a kidnapping and sexual assault at age 17, held captive for days in an abandoned building before escaping. Days, not hours, days. She dropped out of high school, battled depression and suicidal ideation from trauma, and entered cycles of poor relationships seeking validation. But Keisha didn't stay stuck. She obtained her GED, went through intensive therapy through community programs, and launched a life coaching business while raising kids. She transformed pain into purpose, now mentors victims, built a thriving coaching practice serving over 500 women, self published a memoir on resilience, and advocated for Black survivor resources, influencing local policies on trauma care. Her assault made national news with a citywide manhunt. And post trauma, she witnessed community violence, echoing runs to bad people. Keisha Wright's story is a perfect match to Shalana Jones's pre-graduation rape and hostage news manhunt, therapy after bad choices and suicides witnessed, GED, school, motherhood, and book for Black women victims. In 2015, Black activist and mom Aisha Johnson survived being raped and held hostage for 48 hours in Detroit by an ex partner, featured in local news searches. 48 hours, 2 full days of captivity, of terror, of violation. She faced high school incompletion, therapy resistant PTSD, bad decisions like prostitution exposure while fleeing pain, and balancing single motherhood. But Aisha didn't let her story end there. She completed her GED, went through trauma therapy, and channeled her story into a nonprofit for survivors. She founded a support network, wrote an inspirational blog to book series, grew her nonprofit to aid 2,000 women, and keynoted at Black entrepreneurship events. Weapons were used during her captivity, and post escape, she sought solace in risky circles, mirroring deeper brutal experiences. Aisha Johnson's story directly aligns with Shalana Jones's 30-day hostage and rape with weapons, news story, GED, therapy, bad choices, prostitution exposure, motherhood, and book inspiration for Black victims. These stories, just like Shalana Jones's story, show that Black women can rise from the deepest pits. We can overcome rape, hostage horrors, PTSD, bad choices, suicides witnessed, prostitution exposure, and more. We can get our GED, go to therapy, become mothers, write books, build businesses, launch nonprofits, and inspire thousands. We can choose softness, we can choose healing. We can choose ourselves. And that choice, that radical decision to prioritize our own healing, our own peace, our own joy, is what makes us powerful. It's what makes us soft. It's what makes us free. Because here's the truth: softness is not weakness, softness is not giving up, softness is not quitting. Softness is the sacred pause Black women have been waiting for. It's not a trend, it's a lifestyle rebellion. It's a deep exhale from the Superwoman script. It's a quiet but powerful return to softness, rest, self trust, and radical joy. And it's time we all took that pause. It's time we all took that breath. It's time we all chose ourselves. Shalana Jones is learning to be soft in a world that taught her survival. She's releasing the cape of trauma. She's redefining strength as therapy, education, motherhood, and book writing. She's embracing softness as her soft girl era. She's healing in real time from rape, hostage horrors, bad choices, and more. She's protecting peace as a practice by choosing herself. And she's turning survival into something sacred and supportive for other Black women victims. And you can too. You can release the cape of whatever role, mask, or responsibility you're no longer willing to carry. You can redefine strength as rest, boundaries, therapy, education, faith, and self love. You can embrace softness as your soft girl era, whatever that looks and feels like right now. You can heal in real time from whatever past wound you're still tending to, and you can find what's helping, whether it's therapy, journaling, community, or faith. You can protect peace as a practice by actively creating space for joy, rest, and boundaries. And you can turn your pain into purpose, into something sacred or supportive for others. So here's what I want you to do right now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready, right now. I want you to think about one trauma you've been running from, one wound you've been carrying, one cape you've been wearing that's too heavy for your shoulders. And I want you to make a decision. I want you to decide that today is the day you start choosing yourself. Today is the day you start choosing softness. Today is the day you start choosing healing. Maybe that means you pick up the phone and call a therapist. Maybe that means you enroll in that GED program you've been thinking about. Maybe that means you set a boundary with someone who's been draining your energy. Maybe that means you take a nap without guilt. Maybe that means you say no without explanation. Maybe that means you cry without shame. Maybe that means you rest without apology. Whatever it means for you, do it. Do it today. Do it now. Because if Shalana Jones can overcome 30 days of hell, if Tara Brown can rebuild after hours at knife point, if Keisha Wright can rise after days in captivity, if Aisha Johnson can transform after 48 hours of terror, you can start your comeback today. This is not about being perfect. This is not about having it all figured out. This is about choosing yourself. This is about choosing softness. This is about choosing healing. This is about choosing hope. And that choice, that radical decision to prioritize your own peace, your own joy, your own rest is what will change your life. It's what will change our community. It's what will change the world. Because when Black women choose softness, when we choose healing, when we choose ourselves, we don't just transform our own lives, we transform the lives of our children, our families, our communities, our world. We break generational cycles of trauma. We model what it looks like to rest without guilt. We show the next generation that they don't have to be superhuman to be worthy. We prove that softness is not weakness, it's power. So I'm challenging you today. I'm challenging you to choose yourself. I'm challenging you to choose softness. I'm challenging you to choose healing. I'm challenging you to start your soft girl era. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready. Today, right now, this moment, because you deserve it. You deserve softness. You deserve rest. You deserve healing. You deserve joy. You deserve peace. And you deserve to choose yourself without guilt, without apology, and without explanation. Shalana Jones chose herself. Tara Brown chose herself. Keisha Wright chose herself. Aisha Johnson chose herself. And now it's your turn. It's your turn to rise. It's your turn to heal. It's your turn to be soft. It's your turn to reclaim your joy, your peace, your rest, your life. So grab that journal, make that therapy appointment, enroll in that program, set that boundary, take that nap, say that no, cry that cry, rest that rest, and choose yourself, choose softness, choose healing, choose hope, because you're next to rise. And the world is waiting for your soft girl revolution.